NPBF coaches and fans, New Frontier people, anyone who's new to the channel. Welcome to yet another NPBF post-draft preseason 16 Meet the Coaches interview. Today I'm joined by quite literally the newest member of the NPBF. If I'm not mistaken, he hasn't even been in the league for a week yet.
No, brand new.
Brand new. I am joined by Callum,
Hi there.
just promoted from D League of the Bassett Bellsprouts.
Hello.
So before we get into you and whatnot, I'm curious, how long were you in D League before you got brought up?
I think it was definitely 2 years, maybe three.
Oh wow, you've been in D League a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. I've been really enjoying it. It's just got me back into playing a bit more competitive, which has been nice on a bit more regular schedule. It's been I've enjoyed it.
So what's your history with competitive Pokemon? Where'd you find your start?
So I think for me, although I've been playing Pokemon for a long while, I think it was X and Y that first got me into competitive. I think it's the first time I probably took a notice of the just VGC championships and such, and I think X and Y was just a lot. It was a lot easier to uh, sort of understand the sort of how to breed Pokemon. If you're doing it like in game and such, it was just a lot easier in X and Y. I felt so.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just had a bit of fun with that.
That makes sense. A lot of people got their start in 6th gen and X and Y because of how much easier it got made. Although to find that you got your start doing some VGC stuff is very interesting.
I think I just saw. I didn't even. I wasn't. It was really bad. So I wasn't really even aware that there was a World Championships, and they came up on my feed just one day, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. It just so happened to be in X and Y, and then I sort of started looking back over there, and I didn't realize it was such a big thing. And yeah, wanted to try and do some more VGC stuff, but then I just like using some Pokemon that I just don't feel got enough love. So I very rarely actually stepped into anything above. I think anything above UU. To be honest, I was very much going for NU and RU in terms of the Smogon tiers, but yeah, just
Oh wow.
yeah. It's a lot of these Pokemon that we've been using in the draft leagues have been completely new to me. I've just never. I think I only just used a Dragonite in the last D League season. That was probably the first time I've ever
Wow.
seriously used a Dragonite.
That's nuts.
Mm.
That's really, really nuts. But it's cool
And
though.
even yeah, and even with the Dragonite, I think like one of my proudest moments the last season in D League, I managed to get Hayes to work on a Dragonite.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome because you never see that ever.
No, what was I against? It was something that that I'd seen a couple of weeks ago, was just setting up for days and just steamrolling over teams. And I just thought, oh, it was a Snorlax. It was a Snorlax. So yeah, bless this guy I was facing. I think he set up 3 curses and I just hazed him.
Wow, that's actually insane.
Mm. Yeah, I was proud of that one.
You should be. That's not something you ever get to see with a Dragonite. Usually that thing is really offensive. You don't get to see cool support moves like Haze, but that's one of
Mm.
the reasons why we play Pokemon the way we do in these drafts because you get to do crazy ass shit like that.
Yeah.
So you touched on on how you got to do that in D League, and you were in D League for a couple years. What was that experience like for you? You made it. I think last season you were what number 2 seed overall, and you made it fairly far into playoffs, right?
I did. I was quite happy with my season. My last season I played. I had a few personal bits and pieces that took me away towards semi-finals, so my mind was a bit away from it, which was a bit sad. I didn't play my best in the last semi-finals, but just to get into the semi-finals, considering that I was still quite new to the draft league process, I was quite happy. I was quite happy with my performance.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah.
That's super cool. And now here you are. You're in the main league. I'm sure you would have rather come up here from making it to the top 2 of D League, but Could have been another 3 years before that happened, especially with the amount of high skill playing guys that keep getting brought into D League.
Oh yeah, I mean, as you say, I would have preferred to sort of promoted myself, got the promotion from get into the finals. Just stumbled into a bit of luck, really. Unfortunate someone had to drop out in order for it to happen, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to be joining the main league. Even just looking at the different rules for this particular season, it's some of the stuff that's completely outside of my comfort zone. Even after playing a few seasons of D League, it's like even because I tapped out as sort of Sun and Moon. They just were not my cup of tea at all. So all the Z moves, like I understood like Z moves being used as offensive moves, but I didn't realize all of these variables with the Z and the Z moves, like how they affect some of these moves. I've just having to read through that and try and understand it. Again, it's just something that's pushed me a little bit further to think a little bit more.
Yeah, it's nutty.
Mm.
It's really really nutty, and also like I mean a lot of us are like that because we haven't used those moves in the main league since the last Gen 7 season.
Mm.
So it's been a while in the first place for us, let alone like for you guys who haven't used them probably in longer. And a lot of people for us aren't used to the format either with the the triple threat of Dynamax, Z moves, and the Mega Evolution all at once.
Yeah, it's a lot to think of, or a lot to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks interesting. It looks interesting enough. I like the you're getting tier 4 and tier 5 Pokemon just buffed up a little bit with this D Max and Z and Z move variants. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting.
yeah, it's gonna be really really interesting, especially although I guess I'd be remiss to ask, since you are the only one who's come up that's missing out on a interesting D League season. Are you a little disappointed you're not getting to do the Uber season D League?
Um, I I don't know. I looked at Uber's. I am a big guy. Again, I would have liked to have gone through D League and won my way into main league. Uber's is as I said before. I very rarely went into anything in OU, so Uber's was completely outside of anything I even contemplated. So it would have been interesting to just to have a look and just try and play in the Uber setting and see more what Pokemon I could get away with trying to beat an Uber with. Because I like running some unusual things.
That is totally fair. That's totally fair. Uh, but unfortunately, we don't have a D League team for you to discuss because we're here. We're in the main
Yeah,
league. You're here. You did luckily get promoted before the draft occurred in D League.
yeah.
So, like, in a sense, that was pretty lucky for you. But let's talk about your team. You inherited a really interesting and borderline toxic team.
Yes.
Uh, for the people who are just paying attention as fans, when Callum came in, he inherited a team that was spoken very highly of, but he was allowed to make an unlimited amount of changes to the roster to better suit his play style since he didn't get to pick it because that put him at a disadvantage otherwise. And to call this team unrecognizable is an understatement, I'd say, Callum. If I'm not
I
mistaken,
kept
you
I
kept
kept two.
you kept two things.
Yep.
You kept two things
Yeah.
out of
Yeah. I just
11.
yeah. I just didn't agree. I say I didn't agree. It's just some of the stuff that I saw drafted this that I'd either used before and I just didn't feel like using again, or I just have a bit more of a preference for some of the stuff that I've picked, especially sort of coming into it with not having the opportunity to draft from the start. And get sort of a bit more randomness to the team. But I think I'd have to go with a couple of things. Some Pokemon I just really enjoy, some that I've had a bit of success with in the past. And And even then, I wouldn't go as far as say I'm winging it on some of them, but a lot of these I haven't used properly before and just never had the chance. So I thought, why not?
Okay, so you decided to step out your comfort zone with this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of what I've got, when we were in D League, I enjoyed when I had a season with a Tyranitar that did quite well. Um, Roselia. I mean, I just love me a Roselia. I had a Roselia, I think, in my first season, and it just tanked hits, and I was just so overly impressed with it for something that I more or less drafted as a joke, just because it's one of my personal favorites, and it actually came through more times than it didn't.
That's awesome. I used Roserade last season in main league, and it did really well for me. So to hear that Roselia did just as well for you is super cool.
Yeah, and some of the tech options that are on Roselia, even as not just because a lot of people use it as a spike setter, whether it's actual spikes or toxic spikes, it does that job really well. But it also, I think, it does tank a good hit. Its special defense is quite insane, and I think yeah, it stood up against a Spectier for me, and then it had Shadow
Whoa,
Ball. I didn't even know Roselia had Shadow Ball, and then I one shot a Spectier just out of nowhere.
that's
And yeah,
insane.
as I say, it just came through for me for so much during that season, and yeah, I like it as an addition.
Can't argue against that. Like honestly, like the thing saw you good results, you kept it in.
Mm. And some of these, I've never used a Breloom before. I've got a good idea what I can use a Breloom for, but even then, I just want to see what else can be done with it. Um, I mean, I was running a physical Clefable in the last draft league,
Oh my
just to see,
God.
just to see. I've got a Meteor Mash off on a Mega Diancie and nearly one shotted it with a belly drum. That's what I live for when it comes to Pokemon. I just I look at some of these and I know what the standard is for a lot of these, but then being able to mix up sort of standard sets and include some of these moves that people don't know that they can learn, or B just to surprise people.
I think we just found the new threat. Jesus.
I'll try.
Like if you're gonna play that way, people aren't gonna be able to predict you, and then you're gonna beat some people. You're gonna make some people pretty unhappy.
Yeah, well, it's not the plan to make them unhappy, but I want to give people a run for their money if I can.
Well,
Um,
giving them a run for their money is gonna make them unhappy because they want to win.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
But that's cool. I like that. I like that you're trying to just like do super well. But like not do, everyone's trying to do super well, but you're trying to do super well with like your creativity and you're trying to like think outside the box with a lot of things.
Mm. And I think that comes from like when, especially X and Y going forward, and like trying to play competitive, especially on the consoles. As you say, everyone wants to play to win. So a lot of time you'd end up facing so many overused Pokemon, and you had to try and think of checks and counters for them. And because I was only ever using NU and RU, trying to suss out ways that you can get something like a Walrein to take down a Rayquaza, yeah, there's quite a good bit of satisfaction from being able to take something legendary down with something that just people overlook and care very little about.
That's right on. I hear that. I think that's the name of the game personally.
Mm.
Although
But
speaking of the name of the game, what I'm curious most about, because I'm looking at your team roster right now, the people who are watching can't see it. So let's take it down just so everyone knows what we're discussing. You have Tyranitar, Staraptor, Breloom, Blastoise, Alola Persian as a Z captain, Roselia, who we've spoken in depth about already,
mhm,
Mega Swampert, Skarmory, Pelipper, Kabalion, and Dynamax Captain Muck. That Muck's gonna ruin some lives.
that's the plan.
That is that is sick and gross. But that's
Yeah,
not what I want to ask about. I do want to ask
yeah,
about it, but what I'm curious most about is this dual weather we're looking at.
yes. I like weather as a fun as a principle, and I've tried to play lots of different weathers. I've played seasons with sand teams. I played seasons with rain teams. I tried a hail team for a spell, which wasn't my best team, but I challenge anyone to try and get a Hail team to work in singles.
Hail's fun sometimes.
And I think the best I got was a bulky Wall Rain with ice body and leftovers that just sat there and body pressed everything, and that was the best I got out of a Hail team.
Wow.
Um, yeah, that Wall Rain was an MVP for that season. Again, I did not expect anything from that Wall Rain coming into the fact that it managed. What did I sit in front of? I think I sat in front of. I would check Landorus with it, and it would just eat hits, and it would just switch in, eat hits, rest, and it would just sit there and just sandbag. And I got a lot of use out of that. But in terms of this team, in terms of the dual weather, I just like that it's a 50-50. It's a 50-50 for anyone looking at the team. What's going to be brought? What's feasibly going to happen on this team? Is the sand coming? Do I need to prepare for the sand? Is the rain coming? Do I need to prepare for that? Are both of them coming? Are none of them coming? It's just something a little bit more to think about. And I like the pairing of a Tyranitar and Swampert, because Swampert can set itself up anyway. And
Right
I've
on.
had quite a lot of success with Swampert setting itself up just out of nowhere. I've managed to pull back a potential 6-0 to a 1-0 victory with a Swampert setting itself up in the rain. And I just like I like the panic. I like the panic of it. I just like giving people something more to think about.
Well, you definitely have done that. I myself would be very nervous about facing up to this team with I mean, sheesh. I feel like people sleep on Mega Swampert a lot, but Mega Swampert is so good and he is so
But
scary.
and it learns a lot of tech moves as well. Like I think I ran, not to give too much away about what I'm planning to do with this Swampert, but I ran it as a suicide lead. I ran it as a utility swapping in and out, or just what it is, just a really bulky sweeper, or just a pure powerhouse. It's actually got a lot of versatility that I just don't think people give enough credit to it for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, if we were playing a regular season, I would I would want to draft Weather too. Straight
Mm.
up. Like Rain is scary. Rain's always scary. And you have Swampert. And fucking hell, you have Tyranitar.
Yeah. And Tyranitar, I didn't expect. Like I knew Tyranitar has been in OU for a long, long time, and I knew it was going to be strong. But even when I started using it the first time, I was amazed with how even as a when it would take sort of quad effective moves, and it would just sit there and just eat them up potentially if EV the right way. But even then, I'd try my best not to run the standard for a lot of these, and just to try and catch people out. And Tyranitar is just another one of those that you can do so much with. Like I've tried my best to run special Tyranitar before, make use of the terrains. I can't remember. I can't remember the tapu that it is, but whichever tapu sets up the misty terrain.
Feeny.
Yeah. So I think I was running whatever seed to increase defense on that, running a raw Tyranitar. So when the Feeny switched in, I got the boost, and then go from there. For example, because I think it was raw, something that made it switch out. I can't remember now.
That's nuts.
Yeah, as I say, I really enjoy even just looking through the moves for some of these Pokemon, just thinking, oh, that's something. If I didn't know what it was, and there's a good chance that some other people didn't know, and you could just say catch people out, and you can find real good niches for some of these Pokemon, like Skarmory I've been looking at, and I'm planning on doing some cool stuff with that if I can get away with it.
Oh, I like that. I like the mantra of you thinking like, well, if you haven't heard of it, there's a good chance other people haven't. Because I try to take a similar approach when I'm battling, where I'm looking at a set in a Pokemon, and I feel like I see it, and I'm like, well, if I see that this set ruins me, then my opponent probably sees it. So it's nice to see the inverse. someone doing
Yeah.
the inverse of their planning.
Mm. And I mean, I look at some of these teams that are that we've got, and we've got some very strong teams to be facing up against. A lot of some really well balanced teams, and I think for a lot of people, yeah, that it's going to be the surprise element for any team that will probably catch people out more than just the status quo. Because you can prepare for the status quo every single time, but it's when that one thing catches you out, and momentum's everything. And if you can knock the momentum off halfway through a match, sometimes that can win you later down the line.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, it's interesting, not interesting, it's fitting that you talk about the other teams because I'm curious what you think of the other teams.
So I've done my best. I've had quite a few bits going on myself, so I want to try and sit down properly and go through the teams. I've had a look at my first matchup. I've got that in front of me because I've been trying to suss out some things to face that with. But even just the one that I'm looking at here, I slips my mind whose team it is. But Dragapult, Incineroar. I've got Celebi here, and someone's drafted a Kecleon as the max user.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. That is amazing. Like if I had the chance to do that, I'd have done that. Like if just thinking of it's. I don't want to say it's the lesser Greninja, but it's got that protein ability. It's got that protein ability. You're gonna get your Dynamax off. You're gonna have opportunity to set yourself up with whatever you want, changing your type every turn if you want to, and getting all those boosts and benefits from it. It's one of the smart. If I'm honest, from looking over where I have briefly tried to look over everything, I think of all the max users, maybe I'm hyping it up too much, but I think Kecleon is one of those that I'm jealous is not on my team. I wish I had that.
It is a fun one. That's Eric. He is your team for sure. He's your
Mm.
opponent for sure.
And I'm
Looking
interested
forward.
to see what they're going to do with the Hippowdon, because he's got a Hippowdon on here. And I don't know if I just played Hippowdon really badly when I drafted it, but I just didn't get on with it at all. And I actually just want to see how people use Hippowdon, because I thought that I could find a way to use it. I just couldn't do anything with it. So I want to see how that works out.
It's a decent supporter.
Yeah, I just couldn't find any rhythm or rhyme with it, and I had to. Like, I remember dropping it in the chat in D League and just saying, "Look, I'm done with this. I'm not going to run Hippowdon anymore." Just getting everyone coming back to me, going, "Are you mad? What are you going to draft instead?" And like, I don't know yet, but I just can't. I can't make this work.
Hey man, everyone has that Pokemon. For you, it's a Powdon. For me, it's Latios.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Latios let me down hard a few seasons back.
Oh.
But that might have just been me. But whatever. We're talking about you. So you like Eric's team a lot, but you know what? You wanted to take the time to look at some of the teams. You and I got all the time in the world. I'm just gonna run you through teams, and I want you to tell me your thoughts.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So this first team we're looking at, I don't know if you're gonna play him or not, but he's got Kyurem, regular Kyurem, Togekiss,
Mm-hmm.
Amoonguss, Araquanid, Z Absol, Max Palisand, Mega Medicham, Zeraora, Arcanine, Miltank, and Probopass.
A Palisand. I want to see a Palisand. That sounds like a cool thing to have. Hang on, I'll just see if I can get the list of teams up in front of me right now, so I can do it at the same time. So run that through me again.
Kyurem.
Yeah.
Togekiss.
Yeah. Oh, I want to get a Togekiss. I should remember that.
Araquanid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Z Absol.
Nice.
Max Palisand. Mega Medicham.
Yep. Yeah, I've got it in front of me now. Oh,
Yeah.
not Mega Medicham. I struggle with a Mega Medicham. Oh, they got an Arcanine as well.
Yeah.
And a Miltank. Oh, can we please get a rollout Miltank?
You heard it, Shawnee. Callum wants you to do a bring rollout Miltank one week, so you got to do it.
Yep, rollout Miltank. If you face me, I'll forfeit on the spot. You give me a rollout Miltank, and I'll die a happy man.
I want to see Shawnee do that.
Yeah, I think amazing. That is stacked. I'm just looking at it now. That is stacked. Probopass. I like the idea of a Probopass. I can already think what it could be used for, but
I like the
yeah,
idea.
I like the only thing I think about that Probopass. I think that team is so stacked. I worry that Probopass isn't going to see any use. But I think it deserves some respect. I mean, that big mustache boy, it deserves some respect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a part of history, Easter Islands and whatnot.
yeah. Arcanine, I mean, Arcanine is one of the most versatile Pokemon I've ever used in a draft league. The amount of times I managed to catch people off with that, I mean, it's bulky, it's special. I would run. I don't know if it's the normal way to do it, but I used to run a special Arcanine well over physical Arcanine. But then you've still got the option to do the physical one. Again, it's something that there's so much versatility there.
Yeah, there is.
Oh. Amoonguss, I mean, I think Amoonguss, I think a lot of people assume that Amoonguss can only do one thing, but from the limited time that I was able to use an Amoonguss, it's actually got quite a decent little pool of moves.
Yeah.
And just the access to Clear Smog. Clear Smog, I think, is such good tech as a move.
It's
And
so
especially on some
underused.
especially on something like an Amoonguss that can sit there and tank the hit. Yes, you can boost yourself up, but if you've got an Amoonguss that's already EV to, if it's EV to take the special defense, if it's EV to take the defense, sit there, take the hit, clear Smog, regenerate yourself out, and you've started from a clean slate again.
Yeah.
It's such that's the way I prefer to see it used. And it's one of the reasons. Togekiss, I think, is one of the consistently most annoying Pokemon. I love it. I love Parafuse Togekiss and Flinch Togekiss, but by God, is it annoying? I think everyone knows it's annoying, but I still respect the Togekiss. Araquanid's one that I know is strong, but I've never used. I just know that it's really strong. Aurora.
It's the electric type.
That's the Thunder Fist cat, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen and played that a handful of times.
Right on.
So I'm not too familiar with that outside of using Volt Absorb Mons just to absorb the hit. Because that's one thing I haven't done this season, and I used to do almost religiously, is have something that has either Motor Drive or Volt Absorb.
Oh, I love doing that too.
And that is whether it's just to check a Regieleki. I sat against a Regieleki with a Togedemaru, and the only purpose for that Togedemaru was to wait to the very end. So it was a 1v1, Regieleki doing what it does, and had the Togedemaru just sat there in the back, switched it in, their choice specs into Thunderbolt. That's it, game.
Yeah,
and
that's dirty.
It's such a. I know. I did feel bad, but then it's a Regieleki.
No, it's smart. It's smart. It's a good dirty.
Yeah, and it's one of those like Volt Switch. Volt Switch is such good tech to have, and just to have something that you can, you block the Volt Switch. So it's one of those going back to momentum. Momentum is really key. Like you can just lose faith halfway through a match if you just feel it's not going your way, and just to be able to cut someone off. Whether it's dirty, whether it's whatever, but just cut someone's Volt Switch off because that's, in your mind, you've done that. You've wasted a turn. We've all had that moment when you Volt Switch into a ground type, you Spore on a grass type, you think, oh, idiot, should have thought about that. And, it's having that option, I think it's good tech. Absol's curious. I'm trying to think where I've been trying to read into a lot of these Z moves. And I'm trying to look at all of the Z status moves. Like Alolan Persian's got a few good ones, but I'm curious what an Absol's preferred Z move would be.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to just wait and see what Shawnee does.
Yeah, I think Palossand's a curious one. I'm trying to think what the ability the Palossand has, but I know it's got something where if it tanks a water move, I think it's either boosting defense. It boosts something quite drastically.
Right.
So that'd be curious. Oh yeah, be interested to see how that works. Mega Medicham's always a threat.
Yeah.
I think if you're facing that team and you're not assuming that Mega Medicham's coming, you're being foolish.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, that's that one's stacked. I mean, I should, yeah. I'm not look if I'm facing that, I'm not looking forward to it. If I'm being honest.
What about the next one that isn't you?
Jeff, Celesteela. Oh Jesus. Oh, Whirlipede. Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad. See, this is why my mind isn't good for this because I've looked at all of those, gone, oh, that's a problem. That's a problem. Oh, Whirlipede. So I'll prepare for a Whirlipede. Like, well, of course they're going to bring the Whirlipede. Why not? Yeah, that's stacked. Go-Goat. I haven't seen a Go-Goat in years.
Nobody has.
Yeah, again, Sap Sipper Go-Goat. If switched in at the right time, and then you can max into it. Yeah, that's interesting. Mega Kangaskhan. I mean, going back to X and Y, that used to be the bane of any team you'd face. You'd always face it at some point. Pleased to see there's no seismic toss. We all know that's broken.
Man, everyone's worried about seismic toss. Am I the only person that's scared of parental bond power up punch?
Oh no. That's the second thing that I thought of. I used to run that just to farm a load of battle points back in X and Y to get the items. That was broken. Yeah, I think on the bright side, it loses the Scrafty ability when it Mega Evolves to get that parental bond. So if you've got a decent Ghost type,
But it could just sucker punch.
Yeah, I do not have a Ghost type.
Well, I mean, at least there's that, because you don't have to sucker punch.
Yeah. I think, parental Kangaskhan's always going to be strong. I think I'm surprised that it didn't get the ability itself didn't get nerfed more than it was. Because I know you get half attack, you get like half attack or so on the second hit, but that's still a lot. Like if you're doing super effective, if you're boosted, as you say, if you're boosted with a power up punch, 2 sets of power, your sword stance boosted, you go into your sucker punch. There's not a lot that survives a sucker punch. 1.5 sucker punches from a +2 Kangaskhan, which I am surprised it didn't get nerfed a bit more. But then this is just something people are gonna have to think about.
Oh yeah.
Again, that's another mega that I think, like, there are some megas that I see that I just, not that I ignore, but I respect that some of these megas, they're not the best. They're just, arguably, some of them are worse than their non-mega counterparts because they have to waste an item. But I think, again, Mega Kangaskhan, like the Mega Medicham, if you're not prepared for it, you're being silly. You are just being silly.
Oh yeah.
Druddigon, I like seeing a Druddigon. I think it's one of the more underrated dragons, and very similar in some respects to Garchomp, except it doesn't have to worry about a ×4 weakness to ice, and it can be bulky. I've used it bulky. I've used it with a Rocky helmet with the rough skin for that tech as just a big defensive fat wall. Usually you have to run a rest talk set for that, but yeah.
Right on.
I think that's I think Druddigon could surprise a few people. Especially with the Z. Again, I'm not sure what Z move Druddigon uses, but I'd be very interested to find out. Morpeko or Morpeko, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I think that's an interesting one. I saw a lot of from the person who was using it, and I thought it was a smart thing to do. Super Fang.
Ooh.
On Morpeko. Super Fang became one of the moves that it can be annoying when it misses, but like going back when I used a Wall Rain, didn't realize Wall Rain learns Super Fang. So you've got Wall Rain that doesn't deal ordinarily a lot of damage, but you can sit it there as a fat wall, hit 50%, and just keep hitting 50% on everything that comes in, and suddenly you've done so much chip damage that you're not killing them on, but you've contributed very heavily to something killing it. So I think people shouldn't sleep on a Super Fang user like Morpeko. I think that's, again, this is how I would think to use it, and I don't know if that's what most people go to, but I think these are options that people really should consider, just to catch people out, to make the most out of your team, because it's so easy for some of these teams that I'm looking at to go, well, these are the 6 that we're going to expect, so I'll just prep for those 6. My advice to other coaches, who I'm sure are thinking it anyway, the variety is key. You don't want to be looking back over these replays, and we had coaches that were using the same 6 every week for 10 weeks. And yes, they're strong Pokemon, but if you're already prepared for everything they're going to do, suddenly they're not strong anymore because you've got teams who are full on countering you because they know you're going to bring those 6. Whereas, yeah, something like a Morpeko, I think, could catch a few people. And Whirlipede, it's a mid-stage Scolipede.
It's a Whirlipede.
I'm trying to think. In the rules, I imagine it is. What's the baton pass rule for this?
You can
you pass speed on?
Not stats.
Not stats. So no stats. So that might limit it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still use it with the speed boost. Because suddenly you've got a fast wall. You can run it with no speed EVs. Just by sitting there for a while, you can end up at +4. You're probably outspeeding quite a lot of stuff. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sleep on that. Again, whether I'm looking at these incorrectly or looking at stuff, I'm looking at some of these and thinking just weird stuff that I could do with them. And I'd be interested to see what the Whirlipede, if the Whirlipede comes, and how the Whirlipede gets used.
I'm sure it'll get used at least once.
Celesteela, maybe this is a bit controversial. I don't think it's all that, and I don't mean to slam that for Jeff who's drafted it. I want to see him do well with it. I find it quite easy to counter. Obviously, you have to have the right resources to do it, but I just find it. I think I would have more trouble trying to get rid of that Milotic and the Florges than I would have trouble getting rid of the Celesteela.
Right on.
And I don't know. That's just my gut feeling. Like Don Fan, I'd if I was planning for his team, obviously I'm worried about the Kangaskhan. I'm worried about the I can't think how you pronounce that. Blacephalon.
Blacephalon.
That's
okay,
how I
pronounce
cool.
it at any rate.
We'll go with that then. I'd be worried about that. I'd be worried about Don Fan, Florges, and Milotic coming. I don't even think I would. I definitely have the Celesteela on the back of my head, but then in my experience, I found quite a few ways to counter it. But I'm happy. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's quite a lot of mileage. There's quite a lot of mileage in some of those mons, and that's not to say I don't mean to completely diss the Celesteela. I just think there's some bigger threats that I would worry about personally, but I appreciate Celesteela is there.
Yeah.
And speaking of threats, I'm looking at Gav, and he's got a superior. And that's not fun, is it?
No.
That's not fun. Dusclops as well.
That's a staple pick for him.
Yeah, Dusclops. I tried to do some weird stuff with it. I found what was the other one? It was Dusclops, and I don't know if anyone's drafted it here. I haven't had a good look through for if anyone's drafted Corsola, Galarian Corsola.
I think James has it.
Okay. That's one that I had to drop because I just found that was one that I really struggled with finding creative ways to use it.
Right on.
I mean, so I personally wasn't happy with it because I just assumed that people looking at the team would just go, oh, well, this is what I'll do in case the Corsola comes, and that's it. And then I just couldn't think of other ways to use it. Dusclops, I managed to get a Calm Mind Dusclops working one game. That was interesting. Turned Dusclops into a sweeper.
Oh no, don't give Gav too many ideas.
But it'd be cool to see. Because I'd like to see someone do it better. Hitmontop, I think Hitmontop's a solid pick. I mean, just that ability to get the Intimidate off, and you got rapid spin support. That's good stuff. Sylveon, I see a lot of choice spec Sylveon, and I respect it. Although I've just seen he's got Rapidash. He's on max Rapidash. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tapu Koko is one that I'd find difficult to prepare for.
Yeah,
In all honesty,
it does too much.
yeah. And you think about some of these mons and you think, oh well, again, typically it does this or it does this. If it's attacker, it's typically a special attacker or it's typically a physical attacker. Tapu Koko just seems to fit in both of those categories, so that's a solid tier 1. Mega Gyarados. I was talking to my friend at work about this because he's drafted a Mega Gyarados, I think, for his draft league. For the draft league in our D league, and he was trying to suss out how to get Moxie off on the Gyarados beforehand, and I found it a curious choice because is it not just better running a Dragon Dance instead of trying to get a Moxie kill?
Mm-hmm.
That was what I was thinking anyway.
Keep talking.
Yep. But yeah, I found that a curious one. I like Mega Gyarados. I think it could be quite good.
Yeah, it is.
Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is Porygon 2. That's a thick boy right there. That's going to take a lot to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's another snack team, and like Superior that we mentioned earlier, like that's contrary Superior. If you're sleeping on that, don't sleep on that. That's just best advice you can get about that. Yeah. I don't know how many. Do you want to go through these all? Or
We can speed through them. Tell me if there's
Yeah.
anything you like or don't like.
Yeah, let's have a look. Circuitry. What does Circuitry do?
Oh, it can well, no, I can't Z hypnosis, but
Yeah,
you beast boost it.
yeah. But is it just a what? Is it just a one trick pony with the sort of tail glow and then just try and sweep from there?
Or like a scarf or a specs, but yeah, it is.
Okay, interesting.
I would say it is.
Go on, Max Raichu. Max Raichu on Liam's team. Be curious to see what's going to go on there. Oh, let's say. Oh, who's got that? Stephen Sigilif or Sigilif.
Whatever.
I think is very underrated as a mon. I was fortunate enough to draft it very late into my last season, and so many people were panicking that I had a Clefable. They completely forgot that Sigilif is essentially can be turned into a pseudo Clefable with the right setting up its own tailwind with a life orb, with the magic guard.
Oh,
and that's what I went for it, and it surprises people. It's very powerful under those conditions, and even then, it doesn't even need the tailwind necessarily. Like you can set up if you leave it late on, it's got decent enough speed that it is a fast. It is a fast but less thick Clefable. I wouldn't sleep on that. I think that's a solid pick. What else have people got here? Who? Oh my lord! Is there a Moody clause?
For which
have
Pokemon?
We got a Barrel? I'm seeing a Max Barrel.
He doesn't have Moody, but he has Simple, which is arguably worse.
Oh my god! On a Max,
yeah.
that might be the unsung hero of the league. I like that.
He's determined to be sweeping people with it as many weeks as possible.
Look, I like that a lot. I think that's solid. I think that's really solid. We got a Wobbuffet.
Yeah, I'm excited to use Wobbuffet this season.
Oh, that's amazing. And a Licky Licky. Oh, that's a nice weird team. I like that. Oh, that's your team.
Yeah, it's my team.
Yeah, sorry, I completely spaced on that. Yeah, nice. Oh, yeah, I'm interested to see that.
Licky Licky did good for me last season, so.
Oh yeah. Well, without giving too much away, how did you use him last season?
Defensively.
Okay.
Just kind of sits there, just clicks Wish. Toxic and
Yeah.
knockoff and seismic toss.
I like that.
It just kind of sits
I like
there.
that. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I like that. Jesse's team is stacked. Reggie Gigas with a max.
Yeah,
I think.
Jesse's got a lot of high base stat total Pokemon.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. That is going to be a problem. And the Lego. And the
Yeah.
Moltres. Moltres with Berserk. Berserk Moltres, probably with a citrus berry. I like the recycling ability, sort of. Well, I say the recycling ability, like the ability to recycle that Berserk boost.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Oh,
hoping,
yeah.
like, because you could just keep going. You know, if you build bulky on a Moltres, or even if I don't know if anyone's got Dramper, but if you build bulky on a Dramper or a Moltres and you're able to get away with it, you got boosts for days, and yeah, I like that. Just coming to the end of this. Oh, Eldergloss. Eldergloss. Is it Eldergloss? Interesting. Yeah, I like some of these teams. You know, going through them now, although I'm going through them quite quickly. There's definitely some that are just really stacked. Like there's some that we're gonna come up against, and it's gonna be difficult to prep for just because of the amount of power that some of these teams have got. But there's some nice ones that I wasn't expecting people to do. Like I'm seeing a bear tick, a Z move bear tick.
Yeah.
Z move Jellicent. I don't know what's going on there. Again, I don't know I just don't know what's going on there, and I like that. I like the fact that people aren't going to know. Like giving these Z moves to these lower tiered mons, I think is quite interesting because you're just going to get so many more tech options. Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah. It's
That
gonna be neat.
Lapras. There's a Lapras Max. That's
Yeah.
not a Lap. Is that
It's
Is
not the
that just
G
going to be
Max.
standard Lapras? That's
It's
what I was worried about. Cool. I'm
it's
glad that
not
you
the G
clarified
Max.
that.
It's just
Thank
the
God
G
for that.
Max.
Jesus, thank God for that. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, there's some stuff on here that I'm looking forward to just facing, even if I lose, just to see how some of these mons are going to get used.
Oh yeah. There's gonna be some interesting stuff. Although speaking of matchups, would like to talk about
Mm-hmm.
your division as well as your schedule. Now, we
Okay,
alluded to your division
doke.
earlier with your week one game against Eric, the guy who's got D-Max Kecleon,
Yeah,
but you also fight Rennie and Deshawn, and you're new. I don't know if you know about Rennie and Deshawn's reputations, but they're
I
they're scary.
okay. I'm looking at Rennie's team. I can't see Deshawn. Okay, cool. They're on different sides of this document. Fantastic. Yeah, they look. Oh, he's got an Electros. He's got Electros. Ah, okay. I like Deshawn already. I mean, I'm not happy to see the Rillaboom or the Cloyster, but yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, Deshawn is scary. I've never faced him. As you say, I'm very new to this particular group of people. But yeah, he's got a scary team just on the surface. And going back to Rennie, yeah, there's some scary stuff there. There's some very scary stuff there. Yeah, so I might struggle here.
You
I'm gonna give
certainly
it.
have one of the harder divisions.
Look, I'm gonna try and bust as many brackets as I can. That is, if that's all I do, even if I just get a few surprise wins here and there, I'll be quite happy. But I'm here to try my best. I'm here to win if I can. I'm here to enjoy it, of course. But yeah, definitely going to do what I can to try and upset a few people.
That's awesome. So, looking at your schedule, are there any people that you're really excited to face this season?
Um, I think it's a bit difficult to say with just all these new people. So although I don't know a lot of the play styles for particular people, I'm going to need to try and have a look at that.
Right on.
But I'm interested to see just looking at people's teams, you can get sort of a kind of vibe of what people are going to go for, or kind of their play styles. But yeah, some of these ones that Kecleon, I'm dying to see that Kecleon. If it doesn't get brought, like I'm not going to cry about it, but I will be.
I think you
I
face him again week 12 anyway.
uh,
Which so if he doesn't
bring
bring it week 1, he maybe you get to see it week 12.
yeah, or maybe he'll just crush my dreams. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Oh, I think
Yeah, I think there's definitely some good stuff here. I think from what you said there, if Rennie and Deshawn are the odds on favourites in that division, I'm definitely interested to face them and just see what we can do there. And
that's awesome.
even if I get absolutely destroyed in week 2, week 3 of that, I will be coming back with a vengeance to try and sort that out. I think for me, I have a habit, especially in the draft league. Like I do draft what I can, and what I'm sort of loosely comfortable with. But I'm very quick to get rid of stuff if I just feel early on it's just not working. So this team could look different in about 4 weeks,
Oh, I'll be interested to
and
see.
like there's some stuff here that as I said, I've never used before. I've never touched Cabalion. Historically, I stay away from from legendaries and mythicals, but I just thought in this league, I have to draft something that can at least compete.
Fair.
Um, but that said, I think there's a lot to think about with a lot of these teams, and I'm pleased to see that there is a lot of variety there, and I'll be interested to find out a few of these play styles.
That's awesome. I love that. So, I've taken up a lot of your time, Callum, but before we wrap up, I'm curious if there are
Hmm.
any final thoughts you have or anything you want to share with anyone who's listening to this video right now.
Well, maybe preach to converted for a lot of people if you're watching this video anyway. If you've got an interest in any of these draft leagues or any of these main leagues, just give them a go. Honestly, I have loved playing Pokemon just ever since I first got involved in it. And I'm older now. Life gets busy, but just having this sort of little platform to even if you're just doing a battle every week just to keep yourself sharp, it's great. I think it's well worth your time if you just enjoy playing Pokemon to try your hand at a draft league. It's just a different experience, and yeah, I think it's certainly one of the better things that I've done Pokemon wise for quite a few years. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it I wouldn't have been in as many seasons as I was if I didn't enjoy it, and I think people should definitely give it a go. And just use stuff that you don't know how to use, or use stuff in weird ways. You'll be surprised what can be used. I have used some of the weirdest sets and somehow not always been able to make them work, but at least given them a bloody good go. And I think, yeah, some of the Pokemon that you don't think will ever work, you can find a way to use it. Every Pokemon's valuable unless it's a Sunkern.
Very well said, Callum. Very, very
Mm.
well said. Well, I have to say, it's been really nice getting to know you. Like this is the first time you and I have really ever spoken, just period, not even just outside of a chat. But I really think, other than arranging this is the only time you and I have spoken.
Yeah, you say our paths are never crossed, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you for being so welcoming.
No, thank you for, just jumping right in and giving me your time like this. It's been a load of fun getting to know you and getting to hear about how you like to play this game that we all enjoy together.
Mm. Yeah, no, yeah, very pleased to be involved.
I think everyone is pleased to see you make your way up here.
Oh, thank you.
Well, with that all said, we still have a few more interviews that are going to be going up on the channel, so stay tuned and please be excited for the coverage that is going to be coming for season 16. I almost said the wrong season there for a second, but I caught myself. So
Happens to us all.
We just finished 15. We're not starting 15. Yeah, so again, thank you guys for tuning in. These interviews have been a lot longer than I initially planned, but I'm not complaining either because it's been fun to have them be so long. So until next time, guys, take care.